Subject: what the hell happened during the big protest? Dear parents, what in the absolute hell did I just witness? I've been dealing with a complete circus of chaos these past few days, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the utter absurdity that was supposed to be some grand protest. And when I say grand, I mean you might want to prepare yourselves for what actually went down, because it was nothing short of a disaster, but not in the way anyone expected. So you've probably heard the rumors. Thousands of students, fires, destruction, chaos, the works. Well, I'm here to give you the truth, and it's a hell of a lot less dramatic than that. I was expecting riots, destruction, the whole 9 yards. And what did I get? A pathetic excuse for a protest that made no sense and barely even qualified as an attempt to do anything. Let's break this down, piece by piece, and trust me, you won't believe it. First, there were about 12 students standing around acting like they were about to change the world. But instead of standing up for any real cause, they each came up with the most idiotic protest actions I've ever seen in my life. One kid stomped on the ground and cried, "Ow!" Like, what the hell was that supposed to accomplish? Another student held up a piece of paper that said, "We want change." Oh, great. Well, I guess that'll fix everything, right? One kid climbed a tree for no damn reason, probably because he thought he was doing something revolutionary. Another slapped another kid in the face and immediately fell over in embarrassment. There was one who just coughed, and it scared another kid so bad that he cried and ran away like a damn baby. Honestly, if coughing is now a form of protest, we're all doomed. And don't even get me started on the guy who shoved a car and then immediately gave up when it didn't move. Dude, you didn't even make it a foot. That was a whole lot of effort for absolutely no result. Another kid threw a pencil at the building, followed by a loud ugh, and that was it. Someone else screamed, causing 7 students to cry and run away like they'd just seen a ghost. A couple of kids thought throwing paper balls at each other was the most impactful act of rebellion they could pull off until one cried and gave up after getting hit. Here's where it gets really interesting. One of the kids tried to start a fire, but the lighter scared the hell out of him, so he just stood there, trembling like a leaf, not knowing what to do next. Another kid moved a chair to a different table and thought that was a groundbreaking act of change. And one student sat down, played GTA 5 on his PS5, and completely ignored the whole thing, like the protest wasn't even a thing. There was one kid who licked the floor and got sick twice because of it. Like, who does that? And then the fun continued. Every single student decided to join in, but instead of turning the school into a war zone, they did things like pull the fire alarm 66 times. Yes, 66 times, as if that was going to send any real message. One kid shot himself with a Nerf gun and cried for hours afterward, as if he was somehow emotionally scarred from his own stupidity. Another student used the word "willyhead," and 3 others cried like it was the most offensive thing they'd ever heard in their entire lives. Someone else threw a stick at a tree and then thought they'd killed it. That's right, they thought they murdered a tree. Some students smashed their phones on the ground and screamed, "We want the iPhone 16 Pro Max," like that was going to change anything. Others thought that if they said the word penis loudly enough, they'd get arrested, so they cried because they thought they were about to be locked up forever. A couple of kids shoved each other, but all they ended up doing was knocking each other over and crying. There was one kid who called an ambulance because he dropped his phone, which, let me remind you, was perfectly fine when he dropped it. Someone tried to call the police to have me arrested for 637 gazillion eternities. The sheer audacity of that statement alone made me laugh. Another student threw an egg at the wall and was immediately terrified by the yolk. Oh, and there was the kid who tried to set a bus on fire with 2 sticks, but unsurprisingly it didn't work. But wait, it gets better. A kid tried climbing the bus, gave up after 2 seconds, and then sat down in defeat. The list of absurdities continued. One student shit himself, another ate pineapple on pizza, and then 5 students just went home, like the whole protest was too much for them to handle. One kid threatened to curse me with evil powers if I didn't resign. I told him no, and guess what happened? He cried. A lot. 8 students started burping and farting like it was some sort of protest performance art. One kid threatened to summon a thunderstorm if I didn't resign by next week, which, sure, buddy, I'll just wait for that storm to roll in. I had a kid factory reset his phone out of sheer frustration, and another just opened a window as if that was going to cause some sort of revolutionary change. One student kept saying, "Resign," over and over again like a broken record. It was as if their chant was going to make me just spontaneously fall into line. And then there was the cherry on top. One kid poured a bottle of water on the ground and thought that was an act of defiance. Someone else blew at the building, and it made some kids so scared that they ran away crying like the building was about to collapse. One kid tried to steal my car, but he only tried the handle once and gave up after realizing he had no idea how to actually hotwire anything. Let's not forget the idiot who tried to handcuff me. The one who thought I'd be so intimidated by a burp on a security camera that I'd quit my job, and the one who threatened to delete their YouTube channel like that would do anything other than make everyone think they're an even bigger idiot. So, what did we learn from this protest? Absolutely nothing. We saw no change, no rebellion, just a bunch of kids flailing around doing the most random and pointless things, none of which even remotely resembled a protest.